Why didn't the Ottoman Empire exploit the Napoleonic Wars? Throughout the Napoleonic Wars, nearly every European power was engaged in battle. Yet one notable exception remained: the Ottoman Empire. Aside from a brief French invasion in 1798, the Ottomans largely stayed out of the conflict. But with their traditional enemies, Russia and Austria, preoccupied, why didn't the Ottomans seize the opportunity to expand? At the end of the 18th century, the Ottomans had only one real European ally: France. The Franco-Ottoman alliance had lasted for centuries, serving both nations well. It would have made perfect sense for the Ottomans to align with France during the Revolutionary Wars, tying down Russian and Austrian troops while reclaiming lost territories. So why didn't this happen? It wasn't for lack of trying. By the early 1790s, the Ottoman Empire was already in decline. For over half a century, it had failed to win any major wars, and its borders were slowly shrinking. The problem lay in its outdated military, particularly the Janissaries. Once an elite force of slave soldiers fiercely loyal to the Sultan, the Janissaries had become a powerful political faction, frequently overthrowing rulers and resisting modernization. Worse still, their battlefield effectiveness had diminished as European tactics and weaponry advanced. Recognizing this weakness, Sultan Selim III sought French assistance to modernize the Ottoman army. But after the fall of the French monarchy, the Ottomans were left dealing with a revolutionary government that proved to be more of a threat than an ally. In 1798, Napoleon Bonaparte invaded Egypt, aiming to cut Britain off from India. Though the French initially succeeded, British intervention forced Napoleon to abandon his army, which surrendered to the Ottomans in 1801. This did little to improve relations between the two nations. For the next 14 years, the Ottomans neither fought alongside the French nor joined the coalition against them. Why? Because, despite their historical rivalry with Austria, the Habsburgs had signaled that they had no further interest in expanding southward. This gave the Ottomans a rare moment of stability, allowing them to focus on internal reforms instead of external wars. But even after expelling the French, the cost of war had been devastating. The Ottomans suffered massive casualties, proving that sheer numbers were no longer enough in modern warfare. Selim III used this as justification to push military reforms, despite Janissary opposition. However, the reforms triggered a backlash. Selim was overthrown and eventually executed, replaced by a series of weak rulers who struggled to control the empire. Meanwhile, both the French and the Russians sought Ottoman support. The Ottomans hesitated, seeing Napoleon as the likely victor but distrusting his motives. When they refused an alliance with Russia, the Tsar responded by invading Ottoman territory. Napoleon promised to return these lands until he didn't. By the time the Ottomans realized they had been played, they were still at war with Russia. In 1812, facing Napoleon's growing power, Russia sought peace with the Ottomans, and the Sultan, seeing little hope of victory, agreed. Just 1 month later, Napoleon launched his catastrophic invasion of Russia. Had the Ottomans held out longer, they might have regained lost ground. But by then, years of war had drained their strength, and joining Napoleon's side would have been a gamble with little reward. So, in the end, the Ottoman Empire chose neutrality not out of strategy, but out of necessity. Their military was weak, their politics unstable, and their trust in European powers shattered. And when the Napoleonic Wars finally ended, the Ottomans found themselves not stronger, but even more vulnerable, teetering on the edge of further decline.